Erik Bloomquist, as I live and breathe. There you are.
How are you?
I'm good. Get to talk with you this morning and about Founders Day.
Good.
What a brutal horror film this is.
We had fun.
Yeah, I imagine so. I mean, when you put together something like this with Carson, I mean, do you guys just banter back and forth about how to elevate the intensity?
Yeah, we've been tossing this one around for a very long time, and it's kind of evolved over a decade of different drafts and ideas. So it's a bit of talking back and forth and passing the laptop back and forth and just kind of sitting in rooms and spitballing and letting it breathe from there. Yeah.
And what a cast you've got. I mean, Amy Hargraves is just a phenomenal actress.
Oh, I love her. It's our second time working together, and we did a very different project together when she was much more of kind of in every woman, like a very but like and just beautiful, like delicate performance. And I was like, she could really just chew some scenery with this role, and she really gravitated to it, and we just had a ton of fun. And I think that she just very much understands that the tonality of the whole thing, that everything is amplified in a way that's just slightly north of reality in this movie.
It's true, but I also like the fact that this movie and other movies that you've done, they don't take themselves so seriously that you can't have some humor running through it.
I appreciate you saying that, because I think that while not certainly a comedy with a capital C, we really want to have a lot of fun and play and wink and joke and have some strange characters throughout that inhabit the movie. And I think that that's ultimately what we're doing here is a both a love letter to and satire of small town life and the way that people posture for attention and status. And I think ultimately that's what we wanted to do. And for me, that means just a lot of play.
And the title Founders Day, I mean, I don't hear that term often anymore. And when I was growing up, because I'm 10 times older than you, in small towns we heard it all the time. It's like the phrase state fair. you know
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Um, I think with a couple of recent holiday movies, people might think that it was trying to, in some ways, use that kind of brand of holiday horror, but I never thought of it that way. I thought of it about the small town and just having an event that people rally around. And it made sense to me that rooting in the traditions and the history and the tenets on which a town was founded would lead to that. I mean, sometimes have like their waterfall festival, they have their town extravaganza. For me, it was Founders Day, just to give it that sense of palpable history. Because if you've seen other stuff that I've done, we like to kind of have one foot in yesterday and one foot in today. Um, edgy nostalgia is what we say. Edgy nostalgia is the brand.
And I like that about your films because you're also giving us kind of a tip of the hat to movies done way back then, so you have that kind of small town feel. It's a nostalgia horror.
Yeah, and I want that. I'm not looking to be actively subversive, but I'm not looking to copy what came before. I think we just want to conjure that sense of tone and play and mischief that you might have felt when you were watching those 90s or early 2000s horror movies with this one. Something that is tongue in cheek and isn't hyper serious, but can have some weight at certain moments. So to me, it's it's needlepoint in terms of living in both of those worlds. But I think everyone involved understood. And when people when go into the movie ready to receive something like that, there are people that just go, ah, I see what you did.
Well, and I think it's a movie for horror fans too, because you've got so many cookies and little nods to things. It is so well done, and I really appreciate all that happens.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. It's been a labor of love, and it's fun watching with an audience. It's fun hearing people laugh. I mean, it's just great, these kinds of movies in a group setting, because there are the eccentricities of some of these characters that we just amplify ever so slightly for the movie world are just super fun to hear the way people react and kind of like go shifty eyed at them. It's fun to watch with a group.
What do you think audiences, especially horror audiences, are going to take away from Founders Day?
I really hope that they like our killer and his weapon. I'm very excited. I think the weapon is super neat. Um, and I hope they really do laugh a lot. I wanted to just feel like something that when you were a kid you might have grabbed off the shelf at the library and been like, oh, that was fun, or you wandered and grabbed off the shelf at Blockbuster. And I think generally that's what we want to make is just something that people want to also talk about after and be like, who did you think it was? Or this is when I realized it was fill in the blank. This is when I thought it was this. Um, I like when the conversation can go on like that
I love
afterward.
that too. I love a good water cooler conversation
Yeah.
afterward. I mean, there's nothing foreshadowed, and it's just all creepy and wonderfully done. After people discover Founders Day, are you working on something else? Are you going to be doing more horror? You want to get into comedy, romantic comedies, things like that?
We love that. I have a romantic comedy musical dramedy thing coming out at some point this year. Still with a supernatural bent. There's a ghost involved. But yeah, we have a few things in the hopper that are brewing, depending on what lines up first, and we'd love to get shooting again. But I really do love the genre space, and Carson does too, because there is the communal component to it, and there's the people can be very active with these kinds of things in terms of guessing or in terms of figuring out like what's going to happen next to the character. And I like making things that people want to lean in and participate in. So the genre hybrid thing is fun, where you can live it with horror with comedic elements or horror with romance, or I think it's really fun because they can bring out different colors in each other.
Do you enjoy putting on the director's hat, or basically are you an actor that directs?
I love it. I'd say that I'm both. I grew up doing primarily acting and then started to do more filmmaking and making my own stuff and writing content. So now I feel like it's all part of my full musculature. So I really do like working as the infrastructure allows in all the capacities, because I think that my acting sensibilities allow me to work really well and closely with actors and to understand text, to what's going to feel good and make sense in somebody's mouth and how to modify those things. And I think sometimes when I'm acting within a scene, I can set a tone within it. I can direct from within, whether that's setting a tempo or a cadence or a tone, and kind of sense what's going on from the inside. So I really do love doing both, and I think that they all inform each other, at least for me.
Before I go, I want to mention your soundtrack. It's
Oh, I love that. I love that you said that. We spent a lot of time. I love the soundtrack too. They're great, those people.
I hope you release it, as a soundtrack on somewhere, because I would listen to that in my car.
I love when people say this. Thank you so much. Like people, I have a friend who's like, I compiled as many of the songs as I could find into a playlist. It's so moody. And I think that's the thing too, is it's moody but fun and winking, and that's what we want. So I'm so glad you said that, because I to me, if you want to know what we are, the soundtrack I think captures a lot of that.
It's ominous enough, but yet it just plays with the audience, and that's such a fun balance to have.
You. Thank you.
Erik, it's such a pleasure to catch up with you and say hi to Carson, and all the best. And I can't wait to talk to you on the next project.
Thanks, man. Back at you. We'll do it again soon.
All right, you take care.
Bye.